Hello, my friends. Today we are going to talk about folk tales and fairy tales. We're going to learn the difference between fairy tales and folk tales. And as we go on in our learning journey, we will mostly be working with folk tales. But let's take a look at the difference between the two first. So I'm going to talk to you firstly about fairy tales. I'm going to cover this side up so we can just concentrate on fairy tales for a minute. So fairy tales usually have characters that involve royalty or animals. So think of Snow White for the royalty. Think of Cinderella. And animals, think of the Three Bears or the Three Pigs. So usually the characters are either royalty or they're animals. And in a fairy tale, it often has some kind of magic or a magical character. So again, Snow White, think of the Wicked Queen. She was magical, and the magic was the magic apple. And also in a fairy tale, good triumphs over evil. Good wins every time in a fairy tale. Also in a fairy tale, events tend to happen in threes or in sevens. So let's think about the fairy tales we know again. There were 7 dwarves in Snow White. And things that happen in threes, often you get 3 wishes, or the characters are built up in threes, like the 3 bears, the 3 little pigs, the 3 billy goats gruff. And a fairy tale always has a happy ending, and they always live happily ever after. Now, in a folk tale, there are some differences. I'm just going to cover up this side while we look at folk tales, so we can just concentrate on folk tales now. Folk tales, they have to do with everyday life. They're about ordinary people and everyday life. Whereas fairy tales, they're always, royalty, much more fancier. But folk tales have everyday people in them. And folk tales are often stories that are passed down from generation to generation. And in folk tales, the characters are ordinary people or animals with human characteristics. So if the characters are animals, they act like humans. They talk. They act like humans. And in a folk tale, trickery is involved. So this is the main difference in folk tales. There's often some kind of trickery so that the one character gets what he wants. And in the end, good triumphs over evil in folk tales as well. And a folk tale will often explain why something is the way it is. For example, how Tiger got its stripes. And it may or may not be true of how that happened, but it often does explain why something is the way it is. So that is the difference between folk tales and fairy tales. As I said, we will mostly be looking at folk tales for the next few weeks. And an interesting fact is that every country around the world has traditional folk tales. So we are going to look at folk tales from different countries and think about the trickery involved and if there was a lesson that was meant to be learned. We will look for the lesson because that is often the reason the story kept being told and then got passed down from generation to generation. Now, the story that we're going to work on today is How Tiger Got Stripes. And it is from the country of Vietnam. So maybe you can look that up and see where it is on Google Earth. It is in Asia. There's a big hint for you. the country of Vietnam. So I would like you to watch the little video about how Tiger got his stripes, and then see if you can answer the questions that I have attached for you. So have fun with this today, and I'll see you next time.